Hello, everyone. Before I get into the message, I wanted to tell you all that I did get a new email address. It's called Army for the Lord 7, and I'm going to put it in the description box. So if you guys wanted to private message me, email me, you're more than welcome to use that. And I'm hoping to remember to do that each and every time. But I'll probably mention it a couple times in videos just so people are aware of it. So, um, so I did want to talk to you guys about the Lord and about his example, using himself as an example for all of us to follow. And I know that all you guys have heard about what would Jesus do and let's be Christ-like. I know that those are common phrases that we use. But we really have to think about, do we actually do those things? Do we really take that phrase and actually make it part of us and really think about what the Lord would do in certain situations? And because the one thing I really liked about the Bible, about what the Lord did, is how much he humbled himself before man. I mean, we're talking about God, how much he did that. Matter of fact, let me read y'all a passage real quick. And I'm sorry, give me 2 seconds. Let's see. Here we go. All right, so this was Mark 10:45. Oh, excuse me, it's 10:45. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. So you all, he came, of course, for our sins, but he wanted us to really look at how he conducted himself and wanted us to embrace that with our brothers and sisters or with the lost. When Jesus came, he didn't go to the rich people. He didn't go to the religious temples. He went to the lowest class of people that were living day to day, didn't know, probably wearing the same clothes all week long, just very poor people. And as because of their humbleness, because I'm sure Jesus couldn't do anything with the hearts of the people who were religious or who was rich, because their hearts were and minds were already made up and established of how they were going to be, and it wasn't going to be open for the Lord to be able to work with that. So he went to the people that were going to be open to that, and to the fisher of men, and so that's how that came about. And also, like, when he came to Jerusalem, God chose a donkey, y'all. This is God. He chose a donkey to ride into Jerusalem. And even the disciples were they were surprised that he chose that, because God could have floated in there and been all in white and shimmering everywhere, and just could have just went in there to let everyone see him. Or he could have been riding on a white stallion, or he could have been horse drawn in on a chariot, and everyone, like the Romans do when someone comes back from being somewhere, they give them this outlandish homecoming. He came on a donkey. And if that's not showing true humbleness, I don't know what else would give such an example. And then another example is when he washed the disciples' feet. And y'all, tell the truth. Y'all know you're not trying to wash nobody's feet. And the fact that the Lord can humble himself to wash the disciples' feet, which his disciples didn't, they were like, well, you're God. You don't have to wash my feet. But the Lord wanted to do that because he wanted us to take that example and to be humble and be a servant to our brothers and sisters, to the lost. He wants us not to be serving ourselves, but to serve others. And even if and he wants our hearts to be willing to do stuff that we deem is kind of unnatural for us to want to do. And that's how this whole thing is. We're all going against nature. We're going against our own nature, so to speak, when it comes to sin. And then we have to override those feelings and really have that relationship with the Lord. And it's so disappointing because like when I see people online and I see how believers talk to each other, how they call people out their names, or if there's someone who is lost, who is in delusion, how that believer talks to them. And we cannot think more of ourselves now that we are awake, now that the scales are off our eyes. We have to remember that we were that person too. And we can't go straight for the jugular on people, so to speak, because they're still left in their delusion. They're still lost. We have to remember we were just like that. And I have to remind myself too. Because we can't start thinking more of ourselves than what we really are, and then start, not being really productive by trying to bring people in the kingdom if we're calling them names and telling them pretty much how stupid they are. And that goes for like these channels, it's just so disappointing because I'll see huge channels that have thousands of subs, and they'll make all these videos and be brothers. They're just backbiting. This brother against this brother, and they're making videos about each other, and their subs are cheering them on, telling them how good job. And meanwhile, we have to ask ourselves, is that really glorifying the Lord? Is that really bringing souls in? Is that what are we actually getting out of that? And I think a lot of times we trick ourselves in thinking that we're doing a service for the Lord, and it's not true, because the Lord, if you can't envision the Lord making videos about something, then you probably shouldn't do it. And I'm just as guilty, y'all. I have made comments that I shouldn't have. I've jumped on the bandwagon with everybody else on certain things, and I really need to step back and examine myself. And really, what am I getting out of that? And is it glorifying the Lord? Is it bringing souls in? Because it's so disappointing, because I feel like these channels that have thousands of subs or even hundreds of subs, they're not building armies with these subs. Instead, they're just, talking about other people. And if I could hear the Lord, if I feel like if the Lord was standing and talking to me, I feel like the one thing that he would tell me, he would say, Casey, it's about souls. And I feel like if he could talk to all of us, I feel like he would want souls in, guys. And meanwhile, while we are calling people out their names, while we are backbiting everybody, Satan and his demons are just like this, laughing at all of us, laughing, because all this time we're wasting making videos that are not glorifying the Lord. It could be time that we could be on other sites, other secular sites, or talking to our families and giving people the gospel and telling them about the Lord. But instead we're making videos, and I know a lot of, and like I said, I had to examine myself because I had to ask myself, am I really looking at this video because it's edifying me, uh, or because I just want to see what they're gonna say about somebody else? You know, I have to really check myself on that. And like I said, I've been guilty, very guilty as charged. And I just feel like the Lord's pulling me in a different direction and making sure that my head is focused on what we need to be focused on, and that's getting souls. This is a spiritual battle, y'all. This is spiritual. And we cannot be distracted by stuff that's not edifying anyone. And we have to really ask ourselves, is what the things that we say, the things that we do, is it edifying? What's our purpose in it? What's our goal? What are we going to accomplish out of it? We have to really ask ourselves these questions. And could you see Jesus himself doing stuff like this on the computer and uploading a video like that? You know what I mean? So this message is for everyone, but it's also for myself. Um, and I just want us to remember that we need to be servants to one another and not ourselves. And that's why sometimes I'm with my channel. I'm new at my channel, and I notice like when people start getting a whole lot of subs, they kind of change a little bit sometimes, and I don't want to do that. I really want to stay humble before the Lord and be led by the Lord, and not trying to get approval from man, because I can understand how sometimes people in their minds they kind of seek the approval of man. So I can kind of see how that happens, because when I first started uploading, I was worried. I was worried about people like unsubbing, or did they unsub because I said something wrong? And now I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. That's what happens. You know, as long as I know I'm saying stuff that's proper and about the Lord, then that just comes with the territory. And so, but I'm saying all this in love. I love you guys very much, and I'm sorry, I'm not here to offend anybody at all, and this message is to myself as well. And I just want us to remember, let's remember how the Lord set that example for us to follow. And I love you all so much, and God bless.